from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
I heard gunshots and that was it. And that was it. I was in my room, it was probably around 11 to midnight is when I heard it. And then I got scared and I was like, it was just scary and I was like, oh gosh.
The search continues tonight for a man police say was involved in an armed robbery in downtown Fargo last night.
Valley News Team's Rose Itzkovitz has more about the incident and why some neighbors say they feel unsafe.
I didn't see no bullet wounds. All I seen was blood.
And where was it coming from? Do you remember?
I think it was coming from their chest or something.
Dante Gaynor says he's staying at his friend's apartment at 701 10th Street North, the building where police say one victim was shot and another had a head injury Thursday night. He says he was leaving the building when he saw one bloody victim walking in. Did he say anything?
He just I was shot.
He says the male victim walked into his apartment while Gaynor ran upstairs and his friend called 911. The police told them to stay inside.
I seen it was a whole bunch of squad cars, I think 4 or 5.
According to Fargo PD, the victim flagged police down about a block away from the building. Then a second victim with a head wound approached the police. Both victims telling officers a black male wearing a face mask knocked on their door and forced his way into their apartment, assaulting them.
Terrible thing. And
resident Daniel Habiger just moved into the apartment about 3 months ago after his release from prison.
It worries me, but I think I should be okay. It's the only place I can afford, really. So I think it's safer to be indoors than be in the homeless shelter. But
walking into the building, I had no problem letting myself in. Habiger says residents tend to leave the front door open, though they could lock it if they wanted to. David Gill, the building's landlord, didn't answer my calls, but neighbors of the building say the area has gone downhill over the past few years.
Kind of freaky that things are happening, like shootings right next to us, probably 20 feet away from our house where we have our son here, our 11-month-old son. I don't know, it just doesn't feel very safe anymore.
I think it's like on the grid with drugs and stuff, because a lot of people, you will see them knocking on the windows, asking for drugs. They'll be yelling at like midnight.
Fargo police tell me records show at least 83 incidents coming from that building in the past year. But Dante Gaynor says he's not worried.
I'll still stay here, still be here. Gunshots don't scare me. Nothing actually scares me.
Police had no other information. They say the investigation is ongoing. In Fargo, Rose Itzkovitz, Valley News Live.
Police will also say that the extent of the victim's injuries is unknown at this time, and they haven't said whether any suspects are in custody. But we were told earlier that they don't believe there's any danger to the general public.
We didn't get as cold as forecasted last night. That's good. And after a bone-chilling day, the mercury is set to drop dramatically again tonight. Let's find out from Hutch how low the mercury will go.
Yes, it's on its way down already, and we do have some concerns about wind chill once again overnight. Current wind chills are between 20 and 30 below in many locations out there. So as you head out for your Friday night activities, don't forget to bundle up, cover that head. That's where a lot of heat loss can occur. Wind chill warnings are in effect for much of the valley, particularly Fargo and the Interstate 94 corridor and points north, for dangerous wind chills in the 40s below during the overnight and early hours tomorrow. In Fargo, we're expecting our temperature to fall from 8 below, where we are right now, down close to 15 to 20 below through the remainder of the evening hours. It's going to be cold out there, dangerous wind chills, even though wind speeds are not going to be that strong tonight. We'll have details on some warmer air that's in the forecast. I'll tell you when it gets here, how long it stays, and what you can expect as we go through the remainder of our weekend.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
You bet.
And make sure you have the Valley News Live Storm Team weather app so that you can keep up with the weather anytime, anywhere. You'll get the latest forecasts and conditions so that you can plan your day. Just search VNL Weather in the App Store and download it for free. New developments tonight in a story you'll only see here on Valley News Live. A sheriff's deputy in the Northern Valley has been charged in a Cavalier bar scuffle last month. Pembina County Deputy Dustin Wadholm is being charged with disorderly conduct after police say a woman was injured when he pushed her to the ground. Wadholm, who was off duty at the time, was suspended without pay for 3 days for the incident. After our whistleblower story pointed out that police were conducting a criminal investigation, Pembina County Sheriff Terry Meidinger said he is reopening the internal investigation into Wadholm's actions. And remember, if you need help uncovering fraud and corruption in your community, call our whistleblower hotline and we'll do our best to get to the bottom of it. Call 237-6576 and leave your tip. A member of our investigative team will get on the case and go to work to expose the truth.
Police need your help locating a man involved in an armed robbery at a Grand Forks gas station. Take a look at these surveillance photos that investigators released just hours ago. Witnesses say the man entered Valley Dairy on Columbia Road this morning, showed a knife, and demanded money. The robber was last seen wearing a larger blue jacket, chopper mittens, bomber-style hat, blue and white scarf, and white gym shoes. He's described as having a stocky build. Anyone with information is asked to call Grand Forks Police at 701-787-8000.
It's Friday, which means it's time to take a look at this week's Valley's Most Wanted. 20-year-old Francisco Mendez is wanted for several charges, including marijuana possession, driving under restraint, and having fake plates. We have his picture on your screen right now. You can call your local law enforcement if you have any information.
A propane heater is believed to be the cause of a fire that destroyed a turkey barn in Otter Tail County. Fire broke out around midnight on County Highway 53 near Perham. When firefighters arrived, the barn was engulfed in flames. There were no workers or animals in the barn when the fire started.
7 homeless shelters in the FM area are all working together to keep people safe and warm. But they are finding it an even bigger challenge this winter as temperatures often hit below zero. Babs Kohler of Churches United for the Homeless says between 600 and 800 people in the metro do not have a home to go to every night. At just the Moorhead location alone, the shelter houses about 110 people per night, and that includes having to use the chapel space. All of the homeless shelters are so heavily packed in that the Dilworth Community Center has been opened in order to house overflow. From a 90-year-old woman who showed up on the shelter steps to the newborn from last week, people of all ages and entire families are sleeping on mattresses on the floor next to strangers to avoid the tundra outside.
There's a lot of need out there right now. It's really cold out. We're trying to keep people safe. We don't want to lose anybody due to the weather. That just seems so senseless in this area when we all know what it takes to stay warm.
Kohler says what the homeless shelters need most right now are volunteers. The Dilworth Community Center and the security they have on site will end up costing them an extra $40,000, so financial donations are also desperately needed. To find out more about volunteering for a shelter in your area, you can go to valleynewslive.com.
Thousands will be heading to Minneapolis for Super Bowl 52, but their visit may leave a lot of kids out in the cold. About 2,000 students are experiencing homelessness in the St. Paul Public School District. The county has a contract with motels that allows students to take shelter. But motels and hotels are now making rooms available for the influx of visitors headed to the Super Bowl. Homeless families have been told that they have to vacate their motels before the big game.
Because the Super Bowl is coming into town, the motels that Ramsey County has been using are not available. And so then the families ended up being displaced from that.
The St. Paul School District considered opening up a vacant school to provide temporary shelter to families, but the county was able to find alternative spaces for those affected.
North Dakota could well be out front when it comes to developing rural internet. What's being done later on Valley News Live at 6.
Up next, shoppers were out in full force today looking at deals on a business that's going out of business in Moorhead.